Hi, I'm Mary, a librarian and book reviewer with a focus on stories written for kids, tweens, and teens. Today I get to share with you this book called Dawn of the Dragons, written by New York Times bestselling author Mary Mancusi. This is the story of Lucas. Lucas would rather spend his summer vacation at camp, but he's not allowed to go this year. In fact, he's not really even allowed to go outside because there's too much smoke in the air and it's not safe. So he's spending his summer with his younger neighbor Noah, who claims that all of the smoke in the air is not coming from wildfires, it's coming from dragons. Lucas is skeptical, and he's not totally sure that Noah is telling him exactly what is the truth. But when evidence starts pointing to dragons, Lucas can't help but be curious, and when he starts investigating, he begins to see that there's more to this story than he realized, and he might just be the one to create a link that will help prevent humanity from falling into destruction. This prequel to New Dragon City gives readers an idea of where all the dragons came from. So for fans of that story, they will appreciate being able to jump into this one and find out a little bit more about the backstory behind that. But if readers have not yet read that book, they will be able to easily start here and then work into it. So this is written for a middle grade audience. There's a lot of action, a lot of friendship, conversation, and characters that will feel very familiar to young readers. This also has an element not only of fantasy because of the dragons involved, but also of real life and how kids, especially, might react to there actually being dragons in the world. With the proliferation of social media and ways to communicate information over long distances, that comes into the story, so it feels very immediate to young readers. There's also, as you're going through this story, there are several perspectives that are woven in here. So you get to see this conflict from multiple sides, and that helps readers get a little bit more empathy for the characters and to think critically about how they might react in a similar situation. So as you can see, there's a fair amount of white space. There's a good amount of dialogue description, so it gets readers kind of immersed into this fantasy world in a way that's approachable, especially for that middle grade audience. Best for a confident middle grade reader because there's a fair amount of text and the books are long, also because there's more than one, so it starts kind of getting them ready for that young adult series. And it is still approachable because you have a lot of character development, you have the conflict that naturally happens between friends, and the resolutions, or sometimes not, that go into those friendships as well. So young readers are going to see a lot of parallels to their own lives, even though there is a big fantasy element to this story. The characters themselves are endearing, they do have some depth, and while there are a lot of connections to parents, there are opportunities for the kids to have their own adventures and to make their own mistakes and learn from them as well. If this sounds like a great fit for you or for someone you know, I hope you look for it wherever you get your books.